Travelers on the Omnibus occasionally touches on mature subject matter with mature language. As such, audience discretion is advised. Welcome, everybody, to Travelers on the Omnibus, a field trip through nerd and pop culture. My name's James McCarthy.
I'm Brady Davis.
Jody Kite. I'm Ethan Skinner.
Ladies and gentlemen, later on tonight, we're going to give you our chalkboard of the top 5. I know that guy of actors and or actresses in Hollywood. But first, Brady Davis, what have you been up to?
Like last week, I haven't been up to very much special. I haven't watched any movies or any new shows or anything like that. But I did want to talk about a podcast that I have been listening to, because over the Christmas break, I got caught up a lot with a lot of podcasts that I listen to on like a weekly basis, or things that I have gotten behind on. So I was able to finally get around to a podcast that I had been kind of looking forward to listening to. It is a podcast that is put on by, so a little bit of a backstory. When I was younger, back in the day, we actually had like these things called websites on the internet, and they would hire people. They were comedy websites, and we would hire people to write articles that were funny, and you would read them, and it would be fun. Then they would also do some videos, and that would also be fun. And then they all got swallowed up and spit out. And one of those was the website Cracked.
Oh yeah,
and I was a big fan of Cracked. I started watching a lot of stuff that those people that they did, like the videos, and then reading their articles and everything. And then they all got fired. So that really bummed me out. But a lot of them went on to create their own like podcasts and podcast networks and things like that. And that's mostly the podcast that I listen to nowadays. One of them, and this one of them was created is a website called 1-900-HOT-DOG. That is by Sean Baby, who existed. He was a thing before. I remember reading like Game Pro articles that he would do very funny stuff. And Robert Brockway, and they do basically what Cracked did. Only they don't do it like a listicle thing. They just have people write articles on like weird things that they've seen or found. They have a show, a podcast called the Dog Zone 9000, which is like their weekly thing. And they started a new podcast like a year or two ago called Big Feats. And this is a watch-along show podcast for the show Mountain Monsters. It's Robert Brockway, Sean Baby, and Jason Pargin, who who wrote articles and was a editor, and then he went on to write a lot of very funny books. He does the John Dies at the End series, which I'm a really big fan of, and the Zoe Ash series, and he's got a new book that just came out last year called I'm Starting to Worry About This Black Box of Doom. That's like a standalone thing. Very funny books. But they watch a show called Mountain Monsters, which is a cryptid hunting show that is completely that all the people who are on this are hillbillies.
gotta get Bigfoot.
Yes.
Gotta find him.
The funny thing about this show is that a lot of times when you watch like a Bigfoot hunting show or something like that, they'll see like they'll catch like it'll be like 5 episodes, and they'll catch like a glimpse, or they'll hear something in the distance, or maybe if they're lucky they'll catch a footprint. No, these guys, every single time they go and hunt something, which is always somehow for some reason which is funny enough always in West Virginia where they live, so it's like 30 minutes away. Every single time they go to hunt something, they are immediately, as soon as they step into the woods, attacked by whatever it is. They build a trap that is going to kill them at worst, but at best it's like chicken wire and lumber. One of them, his name is Wild Bill, and he is a very rambunctious character, and by rambunctious I mean meth. they're always almost get the thing, and there's not just like one Bigfoot or two Bigfoots. There are
family.
there are hundreds of big feet all over the country, and they are attacked by them and set upon, and they always never get them. They are always completely outsmarted by whatever it is.
So close.
And they always do this. It's all they never do a second take. And it's always just the wildest improv, like at the start of it. So like they hunted the Mothman, and by the end of it, the Mothman could teleport, and they had to create an electrified cage to keep him from teleporting. But they didn't put a top on the cage, so he just flew up.
Right.
And they just missed him.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this looks amazing.
They create a log trap for one of them.
Yes, I watched the show.
Yeah.
This is during the, not to interrupt you, Brady, this is during the early 2000s where this was like all the craze. Wild reality programming was on Sci-Fi Channel. This one, and there was like a bunch of paranormal ones as well.
This show is 9 seasons.
9.
And there might be continuing to. They haven't announced a new season, but they're probably going to. But it is the wildest shit, and Big Feet's the watch along is so fucking funny because all three of them are like incredibly funny people. But it is just the wildest show, and it's the funniest, and it's one of the funniest things. Like I will be, listening to it while I'm getting ready, and I'll be brushing my teeth, and I have spit takes because of some of the shit that they've said. It is so fun. Like it is wild. It is what. So one of the episodes that they did a couple of episodes on the Dog Zone 9000, which is what made me very interested in this. Now
Gotcha.
And one of they had to do it. They ended up doing a 2-part because it was a 2-parter. So there were 3 lightning or thunder based big feet that they were going after, and they found out in the midst of hunting the Bigfoot that they had to. The lead Bigfoot, the lightning man, was after the lightning axe, which if he gets the lightning axe, he controls the world. So they had to go and find the pieces of the lightning axe by solving riddles. None of this is this is actually an episode that they did.
And this was on television.
This is on television. You can go watch this on Max.
Yeah.
Or you can be crazy like one of them did and spend like $140 to get all the episodes.
DVDs, yeah.
Because they do cut some stuff out of the Max episodes.
Right.
But yeah, it is an insane show. I will heavily recommend listening to the podcast because it is some of the funniest stuff that I've ever listened to.
It's probably also easier to listen to that than it would be to just by yourself watch the show.
Yeah.
Because after watching a couple episodes, it gets old.
Yeah, every episode is the same thing. They have 2 nights to find it.
They have a formula. Yeah.
They're always immediately attacked the first night that they go out, and then they always go into a pincer movement when they're going to hunt the thing. For some reason, always it happens to they will talk to all these people and like nothing. The creature will have not harmed a soul, but somehow halfway through the show they get really mad at it and say that it's personal and we have to kill this thing. They always go back and forth between, is this a singular creature that has lived for hundreds of years, or is it just a species of creature? They hunted the last episode that I was listening to, they hunted a werewolf that was a resurrected spirit of a Native American chieftain who was killed unjustly. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I heavily suggest watching the show.
I need to look into this
and listening to the podcast, Big Feats. Check it out. Start from the beginning and just keep going. Because I started from the beginning because I let it go for a while until I felt like I had gotten caught up with my other stuff, and I started listening to this, and it is wonderful. It is great. So that's all I want to talk about is just that, because I haven't done really anything much.
I just want to the cracked guys, if you can, and gals, if you can find any of the stuff they're doing from that original crew, that's some of the best. That's some of the best, I would say, I'll say like the best millennial comedy that came out of the internet in that area and time period. So
just really quick, some other stuff. If you're looking for anything by the other cracked people, you've got Small Beans Podcast Network. They do a lot of different shows. You've got the Gamefully Unemployed guys. They do a lot of different shows, and they go back. Those two are kind of sister networks, so they cross pollinate a lot. You got the Some More News people who are really great. They do more of a like a topical news type daily show type thing. But they're all great. Behind the Bastards is Robert Evans. He worked for Cracked as well. That stuff's really good. Like I said, most of the podcasts that I listen to have to do with ex-Cracked employees, and and it's really great. And also the some of them have actually been rehired by Cracked and are doing like videos and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. Like they maybe they've realized their mistake too late.
Well, I think it's like it's the Cracked of that, because it got bought out by an investment firm, and they gutted it like investment firms do for or hedge funds do for everything.
Right.
But yeah, they're kind of starting back doing things like that. But yeah, check those out if you're if you remember the old days and you want that again, because they're all like great, really funny people, and even like some of the stuff is just like some really good analysis because they know their shit. Like several of them who were behind the scenes, like the directors and stuff of all the stuff. They do a lot of stuff. So it's really, really good stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that the buyouts of things like that kind of don't happen as much anymore, because that gutted a lot of really good programming on YouTube back in the 2010s, around that time period. So before you could monetize being a singular person on YouTube, you actually had to be part of a network.
Yeah.
And one of these networks was probably one of the biggest cultivations of YouTube talent. Like they had, this is before the Game Grumps had their own channel. The Game Grumps were on there. They had PewDiePie was part of it.
Are we talking about Machinima?
Yeah. No, not Machinima.
No, because PewDiePie was a partner with Machinima.
He was, but this was a separate MCN. This was it was called Polaris.
Which later became Maker Studios, which was bought by Disney. Yeah.
Which was bought by
Disney, yeah.
Right. But it was under a different name. It was under another company.
There's also because Game Station turns into Polaris, which is bought by Disney and turned into Disney Maker Studios.
Right. And so that happened to a few giant groups of people, and it pretty just destroyed all their really cool programming, and I really hated it. But it's not really a thing anymore. Since anybody can have a YouTube channel and get monetized.
Yeah.
Not that you make a lot of money off of that.
Well, it also doesn't happen because they kind of killed everything.
They kind of killed
all of those old humor websites.
Yeah.
The original form of them are dead.
Yeah.
At best, they're doing like little small things, like Cracked has come back and they're doing videos and stuff like that.
Right. But yeah, going back to what Brady was saying about the show he was talking about, the Monster Show, where they had the podcast on it. There was a plethora of reality, not reality programming from the early 2000s. That show I think was originally on the A&E network or something,
quite possibly,
something like that.
Maybe Discovery, one of the.
It might have been Discovery.
Maybe not Discovery, but one
TLC
of the Discovery
or
channels.
Yeah. TLC, A&E, or
it was on the Travel Channel.
The Travel Channel.
Yeah, like we said, it was one of those.
The Travel Channel. That was originally a channel just for traveling videos, started airing shit like that. That's what History Channel started airing, Pawn Stars and all that.
I would have at least thought this was like a History Channel
or
thing.
Sci-Fi, right? This should have been on Sci-Fi Channel. I mean, it's got all the things that check all the boxes for Sci-Fi Channel. There was one called Ghostly Encounters, which is almost the exact same thing Brady is saying, but paranormal. Either ghostly or paranormal encounter, something like that. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
I guess it's me?
Yes.
All right, cool. So
I was just gonna let you keep going. Take
yeah,
it.
I mean, sure.
So ghostly encounters.
So Ghostly Encounters. I don't remember anything about it. I watched like a handful of episodes back in the day.
The funniest thing about the funnest part of Mountain Monsters is when they will someone will throw out like a improvisation about the creature that just completely derails everything.
Because they're just making shit up.
Because they are making shit up, and they're never a second take. Whatever the take is the take. Like they do not have. They only have so much film or so much room in that camcorder, and they cannot delete anything. What you see is what you fucking
Two
get.
things: we're getting paid to make shit up, and two, this is on the Travel Channel. Almost nobody that would watch the Travel Channel is watching this. Reminds me of In Search Of, but at least that had some sort of, it had Leonard Nimoy.
I feel like the budget is like $20 for each.
Oh,
episode.
it's got it. They have no money.
Yeah,
all
but
the
it went
money
on-
is for the donuts.
But it went on for 8 seasons.
Continuing on.
It got greenlit.
There are
numerous
8 seasons, and then there is a 9th season, right? That where they just like talk about it's a recap, like going over behind the scenes stuff, and then they're in talks for I think that they might have announced that the 9th real season is coming out.
Studio executives greenlit this numerous times.
Yes,
let's get more seasons.
Because it's probably the only like non-travel show on the Travel Channel.
It's incredibly cheap.
Yeah, like free shows that just keep running forever. Or shows that did well, like MythBusters is probably still run a marathon somewhere on Discovery.
Oh yeah, all that shit is.
If you have archaic television still. I watched a really cool podcast with Brandon Sanderson and his friend that I cannot remember his name of currently. And the podcast is called Intentionally Blank. It's great. They have one topic. The whole time they're talking, Brandon Sanderson's just autographing books. Mm-hmm. That's like every episode. He's just autographing
clips of these. I've never watched a whole one.
They were talking about. Well, I watched all of this. It's 30. Most of them are 30 minutes. I watched all of it because they were talking about Dune 2. Mm-hmm. And it was shot 8 months ago. I just came across it the other day in my feed, and it was funny because. They were saying how on point they were for releasing the episode 9 months after the movie came out. Mm-hmm. Because typically whatever they're talking about is like years old or whatever. And they were talking about like how they felt versus the first part of Dune, and they both give Dune Part 1 is like a 10 out of 10. Mm-hmm. To both of them. It's like the perfect movie. Mm-hmm. It really lays out everything as best you can as far as trying to interpret someone else's artistic vision. Mm-hmm. They didn't compare it to Lord of the Rings, but that's what I would compare it to, because what you see in Lord of the Rings, 50% of that's not in the book. Yeah, like a lot of that shit's implied. There's a lot of artistic what's the term I can't think of?
Artistic license.
Yeah, there's a lot of artistic license there. But anyway, they gave Dune Part 2 a 9 out of 10. Almost perfect. There are little hiccups. The other guy, that's funny that I'm saying that. The other guy said that really one of the only things that he didn't really, I wouldn't say care for, but one of the only like little things that kind of slightly bothered him was Paul's escalation of I don't want to do it to turning heel. Yeah, is what the term was doing. And then Brandon Sanderson, his argument, and it's like, wow, I really didn't think about it this way, but it's kind of like, what choice does Paul have? Paul is basically like being manipulated by the Bene Gesserits up until that point. Mm-hmm. He wants to go the opposite direction of where everything is, but the problem with that is if Paul doesn't go where he needs to be at, all of the Fremen are probably going to die. Yeah. The feeble emperor is going to get what he wants, and the Harkonnens are gonna take over. Yeah. And so he's pretty much thrown into that role. And he talks about, it's like, well, there is some foreshadowing there. Like, first off, there's a slow build up anyway, but there's foreshadowing where Chani says, like, if you do this, bad things are gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
And she wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
But and they also pointed out something that we pointed out, like Paul Atreides is not a hero.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not a hero.
And he's not in the book either.
Yeah. So it was a really cool podcast to watch that. And then I didn't watch Dune parts 1 and 2 again this week, but
you need to get back on that thanks to Tubi.
If you want to watch Dune Part 1, it's on Tubi now.
Yes.
Let's go Tubi.
With everything else. And
watch that, then watch the Super Bowl, then watch it again.
You can also watch Hawk the Slayer. That's on there.
Sure.
That is one of the first sword and sorcery movies from the 80s, because it came out a year before Dragon Slayer. But if you watch it, watch the Rip Tracks version, because it's really hard to get through. Flying swords and all. I've been playing Balatro. I am still stuck on trying to get the last stake on the ghost deck, because the game tries to fuck you, and not in the fun way.
That was so violent. Oh my god.
The game is like, oh look, you need a specific Joker to win this run. You're never getting it. You're gonna die by the time it gets to like ante 2 or 3, because you can't get to the hand that you need to get to, because the game keeps fucking you. So that's been fun. I've been playing the Need for Speed Remastered with one of my friends. It's been a fun time. We've been playing Cops and Robbers. You get to play as a police, or as, like, the car trying to get away from the police. And it's great because both cars still have the option of calling in roadblocks, spike strips, helicopters with spike strips. Fun times are being had. Also, I really, 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 really fucking hate the last month of a Fortnite season, because all the sweaty tryhards are trying so hard every time I try and play that game, whether it be me or with somebody else. It's just not a good time, really. So that's me. That's all I've been up to.
That's a significant bit, though. It's very good. It's
It
very
is.
good.
That sounds like a lot.
Only what you've been up to. You've been up to many things, sir.
You've had a very busy week, sir.
Ethan Skinner, tell us about your broken appliances and what you did to remedy the issue.
No longer
Get off
broken.
my
as,
lawn.
No longer broken, as they are no longer in my forefront.
Okay, that's a weird use of the word forefront, but okay.
I chose and I ran with it.
What about Iran?
Huh?
No. It literally sounded like how someone would call Iran.
I got a new washer and dryer. Finally,
from Iran.
No.
Okay.
Specifically
Famous
from
for
Lowe's.
their washers and dryers.
Yes.
And nothing
I mean,
else.
Censored.
We got to do that on that one now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lowe's, for my new home appliance.
Censored.
Yeah, they're okay.
Okay, there we go.
Censored.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's get back to old man talk.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank
about
you,
your
Lowe's.
washer and dryer.
Yes.
I didn't know I was watching the Red Green Show. Continue.
Red light.
I used to like the red green show.
I love the Red Green Show.
Wait, you're talking about a real thing? I was thinking about Squid Game. What?
No,
it was a real show.
Yeah, it was a show on PBS. It was it was like a comedy variety show.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Really,
cool.
really wholesome.
It was like the only
So
like,
nothing that we just said.
it was
Yeah,
like the
okay.
only non like kid friendly thing on PBS that I actually would
It
watch.
was like Home Improvement,
it
but
would-
for redneck Canadians.
Yeah.
That everything you just said is like exactly right for Letterkenny, except for the home improvement part. Yeah, no, that's 100%. Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Duct tape solves
Yep.
every problem.
Yes.
That was most of the jokes.
besides home
I
appliances.
threw that pencil all the way across the room.
I see that.
No,
Here's
no.
another pencil.
Okay.
This is
hang
going
on.
to have fun editing this part right here.
No,
Oh.
again, it's going to be the shit that needs to be edited
It was-
is going to be obvious.
It
as
was
fuck.
like a Prairie Home Companion minus
Censored.
I've been playing some video games.
best of the beatnik version.
I've been playing some video games. Some more Metaphor,
Mhm.
which I've started to get a little slightly frustrated with it.
Mm.
One of the I don't remember this in the Persona games, but they have like inclement weather that
Mhm.
affects your gameplay.
Hmm.
So basically, whenever you're in a dungeon, depending on the weather outside of it, affects how the monsters act whenever you're
Mm.
fighting them. So like, there's a dungeon that I'm.
I think 4 had that.
I don't remember.
I don't think 3 had that, and
3 definitely didn't have it.
I don't remember it in 5.
yeah,
But basically, whenever you're fighting a monster, you have certain turn icons.
yeah.
Mhm.
If you hit a monster with their weakness,
Yes.
you get an additional turn icon.
Yes.
During inclement weather, you do not get additional turn icons when you hit the weakness.
Oh damn, that sucks.
There's a side mission that I've been trying to finish so that way I could level up so I can continue in the main quest I'm doing.
Mhm.
I had like 18 days before I got the deadline. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, let me do this dungeon real fast, quick and easy. I had inclement weather for like 9 days straight.
Jesus.
Oh man.
And the fortune teller, you can pay money to like see the weather for the next 3 days.
Mhm.
It doesn't go out to 9 days.
Yeah.
So every time you went back to her, she's like, 3 more days.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jesus.
So, and it really sucks because it's an equally difficult
Yeah,
dungeon.
because if that
The time is still ticking for
the
you,
time is
right?
still ticking.
yeah, and if that what you're explaining sounds a lot like the press turn system, which is like what like the basis for like most of these games.
SMT, yeah.
Like that's a big deal to not get because the difficulty is kind of set that okay, you can exploit these things weaknesses and get extra turns
Yes.
and kill them before they hit you back really really hard. So that definitely oof, you rolled very
it
poorly on your
sucks.
dice. Yeah, your dice rolls were very shitty.
I spent 9 days.
9 days.
I'm down to
It's-
down to 8 days
it's
for
like-
the main deadline. It sucks.
You're somehow getting London weather. Jesus.
Like, and so what you're able to do is like you're able to go into the dungeon. You can quit at any time.
Mhm.
And then you go out and instead of like going back to town to reset everything, you can camp out you can set camp so that you can go back at it the next day.
Right.
Every single day I did that back to back. Inclement weather, no weaknesses can be exploited. I'm like, fuck you.
Jesus. Jesus.
On
Better
the,
grind, boy.
on the plus side, I probably have my favorite character I've met so far.
Mm.
His name is Heisme. It is a little shadow ninja that used to be part of the Royal Night Guard,
Mhm.
who is also a bat person.
Oh, okay.
He is pretty
Okay.
sick.
You don't
cool.
see very many bat people in
Never.
games.
Never.
No.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Shadow Ninjas.
So I'm enjoying Metaphor some more, and there is a game that me and my brothers we played online called Satisfactory. Have y'all heard of it?
I've heard of that.
Imagine Minecraft meets No Man's Sky, and also Astroneer. It's more so you are working for a space development company where you're trying to exploit the resources of nearby planets,
Mm-hmm.
and you're sending all the resources to the company.
Mhm.
And the more you send, the more care packages you get from the company, and you're able to build actual factories and mining contraptions to basically expand your mining territory.
Mhm.
It's really fun, and like once you get in like the rhythm of it, it starts. You do not feel time passing because all you're
Mhm.
doing is how can I make my factory more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It got to the point where we made kind of a pseudo infinite fuel source
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
where you just loop biomass and biofuel through multiple like
Channels.
channels
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and using the byproducts of that to make more biofuel.
Hmm.
And so
Your loops.
it's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. And I'm hoping that we can get on sometime soon so to continue playing it.
I forgot about something. My whole point for bringing up Dune in the podcast and it being on Tubi was to talk about the motherfucking MMO. But it's all good.
I mean, that's pretty much it for me. If you want,
Well, I mean,
backtrack.
it's in pre-alpha. I shared a link to our group chat because there's not much footage of it because there is no release date for it or anything like that. But for a pre-alpha to alpha game, it looks really fucking good. It looks amazing. I don't know if you guys watched any of that.
I saw the link. I have not had the time to
You
watch
check it out. It's really cool. They flew this guy to Denmark or wherever they're making the game, and he played it there for 9 hours straight, and that's all the footage he was able to get. And they only allowed him to show certain things because it's still in development. So we'll probably see more and more as it comes. I'm going to assume, heavy assumption, that it's going to be at least an open beta, if not released by the time the third movie comes out.
Yeah,
because
I would think so.
Because the footage that I shared from it already looks like a AA game, and that might be what they're going for, the Helldivers kind of thing or whatever. But it looks amazing. It looks so cool that I might, instead of getting a PS5, try and get a PC instead, depending on if tariffs involved doesn't make those costs a ridiculous amount of money later on down the road.
I'm looking at it now. It looks sick.
Yeah. Jay.
Oh, okay. Back to me. All right, there we go. All right, so this was a very active week for me. I have several things to talk about, which usually is not the case. Marvel Rivals, insert blank, one secret weakness, shotgun blast back to the head. Okay, I wanted this extended past the three, so we got that there. That's good to go there. So, my favorite living artist dropped a new album last Friday. It is The Weeknd, Hurry Up Tomorrow. This is one of his longest albums in that I can recall. It's 22 tracks. It is about 90 minutes, just that.
Oh, wow.
There's a special edition that has like a song with him in Swedish House Mafia, which kicks that thing over an hour and a half. And it so far, this is just a first impression. I can't, in my opinion, digest in not even a week. It's only we haven't been to a week yet. I can't digest in a week, especially something this long. It's a 22 track album.
That's a lot.
There are some tracks that are very, very short. Like Until We're Skin and Bones is just an interstitial track that runs between Sao Paulo and Baptized. Sao Paulo threw me right the fuck off because it is absolutely a Brazilian beat, and his first three songs are very much his standard, what I like call neon night music, where you're just like driving in a car in Las Vegas and just letting the lights take you
kind of
where
like
you're
Blinding
going.
Lights or
really the whole After Hours album, like with the exception, I would think Snow Child and
I Can't Feel My Face.
That wasn't on.
It wasn't.
That wasn't on After Hours.
Wow.
I think that one was on Starboy.
Yeah, it was.
But no, the one that's the prom song. Scared to Live Again. Scared to Live Again is not a Neon Night song.
Right.
But like those first three songs are very much so. The first song really reminded me of the start of Dawn FM, his previous album, which I'm okay with it because I like Dawn FM.
Right.
So I thought it was like a little bit. It started out a little formulaic. I still like the music, and then Sao Paulo hits. I'm like, what is this? What is this by way of Rio de Janeiro? What the fuck did this come from? And then we go into right now. My two favorite tracks back to back are "Baptized in Fear" and "Open Hearts." And that "Baptized in Fear" is almost a horror song. Like and then it goes into "Open Hearts," which is more of like his kind of like. It reminds me very much of the one he ended up doing a duet with Ariana Grande, "Save Your Tears." Remind me of "Save Your Tears." It's kind of like, this is a song personal to me and about the things I've been doing in my life, or the things that like in my life that inspire me to write music. So far I'm enjoying it. I've been through it once, and I've only been through like the first half more than once. That's the reason why I can take more of that. First impressions, this gets a high recommendation from me. It's a very, very solid album. I think he's done a very good job with it.
We'll be listening to later.
Finally picked up Dragon Quest 3 2D3 remake for the Switch. Again, this is another first impression. I'm a huge fan of the Live Alive 2D 3D remake that Square Enix did, and this follows in the same vein of they took what I can only imagine some like I want to say a child, a person of gaming years
Mm-hmm.
picking up original Dragon Quest 3.
Mm-hmm.
I would think they would be like, what the hell's going on? It opens up like the test. And that should pique Ethan's considerations right now because it gives you a personality quiz, and that dictates what your starting stats are.
Oh, I like it.
I
And
like
so I'm very
this.
happy about that. That is I don't say hope. That's an evolution. I believe the first two Dragon Quests, whatever you name yourself, that's what your starting stats are. Like certain names have better stats, certain names have weaker stats. You never knew that. It's very interesting to me how that works out there. First impression, I love it. The voice acted lines are great. It is more of an Irish flair to it as far as the character act. So I'm totally 100% for that. Give me more of that.
Yeah.
Very, very happy with it so far. So far, very good on that one. Movie. So I watched Saturday Night. It's a 2024 film from Sony Pictures, directed by by Jason Reitman, who is the son of Ivan Reitman. Ivan, you will know from Ghostbusters. Jason, you will know from Ghostbusters Afterlife. So he's kind of following in many ways, and kind of a way to me respectfully of what his father's stuff was. He also co-wrote this movie along with Gil Keenan. This is about the hour and a half before the first ever Saturday Night Live aired in 1975. And it's true in that I believe these things happened, but I believe these things happened over the week before it,
Right.
rather than rather than that last hour and a half. Because if that had happened, I think 3 murder suicides would have happened because there is so much going on. It's a movie that's about an hour and a half, or a little bit more than an hour and a half, that takes place over an hour and a half period of time, and they keep up that pacing. One of my pluses for me is that pacing, like you're always on, even when they get to slow moments. It's still that clock is in the back of your head.
Right.
I think Jason Reitman did a fantastic job in that. I think I like this more than I would if I was not interested, because this group of people, the original Not Ready for Primetime Players, that original cast, is so responsible for the way I view comedy and what comedy ought to be.
Right.
So for me, I'm looking at it as someone who did not. I was literally a child when Saturday Night Live. Like, this original cast was actually gone by the time I was old enough to understand what that was. But thanks to Nick at Night, when they would do the 30-minute snippets from all these episodes, I was able to pick up all of that.
Well,
and they were so influential in what I thought about comedy, and in that also Lorne Michaels as well.
In the early '80s, they showed full episodes of Saturday Night Live from the Not Ready for Time.
Because it was because they were so red hot. Like that was lightning. That was lightning in a bottle caught like 4 times.
Aykroyd, Murray, Chase, Belushi, Diana.
You mean Gilda Radner?
Gilda Radner.
Radner,
That one came second.
If she hadn't, God forbid, had caught in cancer, like what kind of career she may have had. That to me is one of the great unknowns from
that
the
show
Saturday
was
Night
stacked
Live
with all the Groundlings or wherever the group.
Second City out of Chicago. Groundlings, I think, actually eventually comes later.
Later,
that's the group that you're
it was
get
Second
your
City.
you're gonna get Amy Poehler and a bunch of other people from that
It was
group.
Second City.
But a fantastic ensemble. I don't want to say of unknowns, but people haven't done a lot in the industry. I want to shout out Matt Wood for his portrayal of John Belushi. I think it was picture perfect. Absolutely fantastic. I think he did a very good job on that. Gabriel LaBelle is the lead as Lorne Michaels. You follow a lot with him. They do go with other people as far as that goes, but they kind of really focus on him. I'd also like to give a shout out to Corey Michael Smith, who played Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase saw the movie with Jason Reitman, goes over after the movie, hugs Jason Reitman, and goes, "You should be ashamed of yourself," and walked out of the building. And I think if you were able to get that reaction out of Chevy Chase, you have done a service. So congratulations, Corey Michael Smith. We appreciate you on that one.
I want to say Dylan O'Brien also played Dan Aykroyd.
Dylan O'Brien is Dan Aykroyd. That's another standout. Ella Hunt, who played Gilda Radner, absolutely. Everyone who let me give you the whole. So Rachel Sennett plays Rosie Schuster, who is the executive producer alongside Lorne Michaels. We have like Corey Michael Smith. We mentioned Ella Hunt, Dylan O'Brien. Emily Farron is Lorraine Newman, who has
Lorraine Newman. That's
who
the
has,
other one.
And also Kim Matula, who plays Jane Curtin. Jane Curtin was also part of the original.
Right.
Lamorne Morris plays Garrett Morris. To my knowledge, no relation. I looked and I didn't find one. I believe he was on the New Girl with the Zooey Deschanel television series. I think he was a regular on that one. I think that was the one that had what blew my mind. Also in the cast, Finn Wolfhard as unnamed NBC page. He's like, that's Finn Wolfhard, and he has like 5 lines, and just what the fuck?
That's great. I love that.
Willem Dafoe is in the movie. He plays David Tebbutt, who was basically the executive over the entire East Coast operations for NBC. He's the guy who ultimately says, "Hey, we're either doing this or we're doing a rerun of the Tonight Show."
Right.
And so I want to say he's antagonistic. He has antagonist qualities, and it's also Willem Dafoe. And so when you're looking at it, it's like that's you ain't David Tebbutt. You're Willem goddamn Dafoe. Fucking goddamn it. J.K. Simmons is in this. He plays Milton Berle. I'm going to leave it at that. If you want to, there's a lot of spoilers with him. Watch the movie if you want to see J.K. Simmons and Milton Berle. Brad Garrett, which is the brother from Everyone Loves Raymond. My favorite credit ever. Unnamed Borscht Belt comedian. That was great. Also, a quick shout out to Kaya Gerber, the daughter of Cindy Crawford. She plays Chevy Chase's girlfriend. There's just they name her, but that's literally we're just
nice.
So I was like, why are all these people that I recognize and then I can't recognize a single person in the main cast?
Right.
It gets a recommendation. It doesn't get a high or that my highest recommendation.
Sure.
The only reason is because for me, this was looking at people attempting to portray again what people who played a very important influencing role in my life.
Right.
So I give it that bit of a thing. I think they did a good job.
Right.
If they didn't I would let you know where I'd let nostalgia cut. I think they did a good job. But this impacted me more than I think someone else who's just coming into this block.
Yeah, of course. If you're a big fan of SNL, especially old SNL, then you'd probably...
And specifically old SNL.
Yeah.
The timing of this also, this being the 50th anniversary of
SNL
this year.
Which Peacock has a special on that as well. But I think this is on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
This one's on Netflix, but the one that they have right now is just for the music. There's more planned, and then of course there's the big when the 50th anniversary goes off.
I heard very mixed things about this one. My apprehension to the movie was the fact that Lorne Michaels is still alive, so of course he had some say in this. Lorne Michaels, I'm certain they portrayed him in a more positive light than he would possibly end up being portrayed, because
it's sympathetic. I will say it is sympathetic.
It is sympathetic, and I think if he wasn't around, it would probably be less sympathetic. Although he might be a different person than he is more recently. But Lorne Michaels is not a great guy, and it's more for the things that he's done with SNL than any other things that I know. It's kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody with the band members being alive and them being able to portray themselves sympathetically.
Well, of all, I was watching.
So it kind of, I'm sorry, it gets me as kind of this probably isn't the most, it's probably more self-congratulatory and look how great we are than it is about an honest portrayal of things. I would imagine.
I agree with you in sentiment. I think the wording would be look how great we were as opposed to how great we are. It's like look at this thing that we had to put together in there's an insistence that they had just an hour and a half to do this. Now, again, this is stories, from what I understand, that were across the week leading up to it, condensed into this 90 minutes. So there's this Hollywood quality of the movie that you have to respect there. But I think I think it was a good movie. I again recommend, not my highest or my strongest recommendation, but definitely recommend to watch that if you've got some time to kill. The performances for that ensemble, I think, are very good. I think moments in the script are great. I don't think the script ties it all together right. Or not, I say right. I don't think it ties it all tightly or succinctly enough. I think so. There's a negative there, but I think that cast more than it's it's kind of like watching a dream where like
Mhm.
sometimes I like Matt Wood. I sometimes see
Right.
John Belushi there. I
Right.
just do. And that young John Belushi
Sure.
before everything went to shit.
It was
Yeah.
also a
So-
crazy time period for TV because a lot of people that don't know, even though there were less people watching television after a certain time period, TV went off the air at 12 o'clock. There was no more things to watch after
Yeah.
Tonight Show or Saturday Night Live got
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah,
there was
Saturday Night Live for the East Coast started at 11:30.
Right.
And so the fact that there's still an hour left of the show
right.
after it hits midnight is just
Like
bonkers.
here, TV went off the air at 12 o'clock.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's
for
also
our time period.
there's also a gentleman who plays George Carl. Oh, I forgot about this.
Mm-hmm.
Someone plays Jim Henson and someone
Oh.
plays Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
And it's the same actor
Oh wow.
at this
Sure.
like oh my god, it was so weird when because like those guys are those brothers. I look no same dude playing Jim Henson and Andy Kaufman in the same movie.
That's weird.
So that was that which again this was a Sony movie. They've got the money. I know at least two people that have PlayStation 5s.
Right.
They could have afforded another actor.
Sure.
I'm just saying. There you go.
Mhm.
So that's my review of Saturday Night. And then finally, Mayday Games finally got me my Crokinole board.
Mhm.
Came in on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It was the exact one I ordered, unlike a friend of ours who ordered mahogany and got beechwood. It is still a quality board. Mayday Games, you didn't screw it up for me, so I'm totally okay. So there you go. But I know we've played several mini games of it over the last 48 hours, and I'm enjoying the purchase. I'm glad I did it, and it to me it also got green and red discs, and because our friend Michael Hill didn't have blue discs, I went on to Walmart.com and I bought Mayday blue discs as well.
Nice.
And I also
Nice.
bought
Sure.
yellow ones, so now we can have 4-player chaos.
Hell yeah.
But yeah,
Four-person crocodile.
4-person Crokinole. You're supposed to be just 2-on-2 in teams. Use the same color pucks. No,
Nope.
we're gonna figure out a way. It's gonna be great. All right. Hey Jay, do we have any feedback? No, Jay, we do not have any feedback this week. But thank you for asking me. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to leave feedback on any of our episodes, whether it is the current one you're watching or any of our past, or if you're that good, any of our future episodes, travelersontheomnibus at gmail.com. Again, that is travelers, 1L on the omnibus at gmail.com. Jody, where else can they engage with us? Spotify, yes. Take part in any of our polls for any of our episodes that are still running, as well as comments on any of our existing episodes. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being passengers on the bus this morning, evening, noon, or night. If you would like to share this experience with other people, but you don't listen to the podcast on the same things that they listen to podcasts on, we're available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, YouTube Music through our channel, Travelers on the Omnibus, and iHeartRadio. Gentlemen, that's half one. What comes after half one?
Half two?
Well, our break and then half two. Yes.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Welcome to the Chalkboard, the top 5 that guy / that girl actors and actresses. What exactly do we mean by that? Brady, please enlighten us.
Expound.
I'm going to start off by saying that because I don't feel like saying the whole thing over and over again, I'm just going to say actors because like it is including actors and actresses because I just don't feel like saying actors and actresses over and over again. But these are people that you watch in a movie. Kind of a side definition would be like a character actor. These are people who are not usually like in a starring role. Although, you know, some of these people that we might mention that are going to be on our list might have been in a starring role or like a lead role at one time, but they're just not often in that role. But when you see a movie, you're like, oh shit, I know that guy. I've seen him or her in other movies. Maybe you can't think of their names, although, you know, it could be that some of ours are a little bit more well known. And I would also, we were talking with Jody about this earlier. We also need to think about that on a curve because when it comes to like Jody and me and Jay, we know a lot of like lesser known people's names. So, but the general public might not be able to like outright just say, okay, I know this person. But yeah, they're just a person that you see them. They're usually or very rarely in a leading role, and they always bring something special to where they stick out, and you can remember them. Oh yeah, I saw him. What was that movie? Oh, it was in this other movie. Shit, yeah. What's their name again? Oh yeah, it's this person. Cool. And it's people, the way I kind of did mine was like, it's people that when I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to do a good job, and I enjoy seeing them, and they're always going to bring it. So yeah, that's kind of what that guy actor is.
There you go. Thank you for that, sir. All right. So now that you've explained the thesis, explain in the form of a top 5. Brady, you are up.
Okay. My number 5, I struggled with. He was like the last person that I put on my list. And that's kind of why he's at number 5. I was really going back and forth between 3 people. And I'll talk about the other 2 when we get to our honorable mentions, and my like I always start out with like writing down a list of people that I think or lists of the topics and then I cut it down to 5 from there. And this was a very long list, very, very long, because there's tons and tons of these people who are out there and who I really, really appreciate. Cause like this is kind of one of my soft spots. I love those character actors, those people who they're not going to be the main character, but they're going to really bring it in whatever thing that they're at. But I landed on my number 5. He was, he was in The Road, Inherent Vice, 12 Years a Slave, When They See Us, and most famously in 2 TV shows, one being Boardwalk Empire and the other being The Wire. And this is Michael K. Williams, best known as Omar in The Wire, who was probably the best character in The Wire. And then he was Chalky White in Boardwalk Empire, one of the best characters in that show. But yeah, he always brings it, always like intense roles usually. But he can be kind of funny too. But he's great actor. Okay, number 4 is my only female in this list, but I think it is well deserved. She is often the mom or the grandma in movies such as $1 Million Baby. She was in The Americans. She was in the newer version of DuckTales. She was in Walk Hard, and her most famous role was as Mags Bennett in Justified. This is Margot Martindale. She was also in Cocaine Bear. I forgot about that one, but yeah, she's great. She can be, the sweet grandma, or she can be the vicious person as seen in Justified. So yeah, always great. Number 3, this is a guy, he was recently in these past, I think it was 2 years ago. He actually starred in a movie, but that's like the only thing that he's ever starred in. He's usually like in a smaller role, but he always really gives this great intensity. He's also pretty good at being like a funny guy. He was in most of the new Bond films as the CIA guy. He was in the 2, 3, and 4 of Hunger Games. He was in a season of Boardwalk Empire where he was great. The French Dispatch, Westworld. He was Commissioner Gordon in The Batman. This is Jeffrey Wright.
WR, right?
WR, yeah. Yeah, dude is great. He can be Shakespearean, but he can also be a little silly too. That's great. I remember watching him as the main foil for, I believe it was season 4 of Boardwalk Empire, and he was just so good. The way he'd go between this like very proper talking character, and then when he would kind of lose his cool, he would slip back into, because he's Haitian, but he talks like very proper and everything like that. But then like he would slip back into like this patois thing whenever he would get like really heated, and it was great. So yeah, that is my number 3. My number 2, this guy is known for his voice acting as much as he is known for his acting. He was in the Shawshank Redemption, John Wick Chapter 4, Starship Troopers. He is Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob SquarePants. He's also Lex Luthor in The New Adventures of Superman and then the Justice League cartoons. This is Clancy Brown.
Also the Kurgan from the Highlander.
The Kurgan from the Highlander. Mm-hmm. Like he is always, if you need a villain He was also in Carnival. He's the villain in Carnival.
Yeah.
If you need a villain, this is the guy. But if you also need a greedy crab, this is also the guy. So yeah, this is Clancy Brown.
He was in Detroit, Become Human as well as one of the police officers.
Mhm.
They used his whole
Okay,
body
yeah.
and face. And
I think
everything.
nowadays he's known more for his voice work than his
Yeah.
actual, but like he's also been like he's fucking great in Shawshank Redemption. You hate his fucking guts.
Yeah, you do.
But yeah. So that is my number 2. My number 1 might be a little bit too well known for being a that guy actor. He probably slips more to just a straight up character actor. But I really, once I thought about him, I really couldn't not put him at the top because this guy kills it in every single role. He's done voice work, Gravity Falls, Zootopia. He's in Juno, Invincible, Whiplash, and he is also the greatest comic book adaptation of any character ever. I will hear no arguments about this. As J. Jonah Jameson in the Spider-Man movies, this is J.K. Simmons. When I think of character actors, this is one of the guys that really comes to mind. He's never starring, but in any role that you give him, he is going to knock it out of the fucking park. This is the second guy who's been Commissioner Gordon now that I'm thinking of it. Okay. But yeah, fucking great. J.K. Simmons, whether he is in a voice role or whether he is in a role, he is going to knock it out of the fucking park. So that is my list.
I like
Excellent.
it.
There you go. I disqualified him because he's too well known. But we accept. So, but yeah, no, so I don't hate the pick. In fact, I love the pick. It's just I immediately put him out of my mind because it's like, yeah,
There are others that I took out, but I think it could be argued that like a lot of people still don't fully know
I think
who
he was
is.
in the HBO that prison show for HBO. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, Oz.
Oz. Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't think of that.
I would put. I would say he's fits perfectly because if you're watching something in like out of nowhere, he comes out of left field like, oh shit, it's J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, because once again, he shows up as Milton Berle in Saturday Night.
Exactly.
What the fuck?
So I would accept that.
There you go. Alrighty, Jody, you're up.
All right, so much like probably all of us, but I have to piggyback off Brady. I had a time kind of like whittling it down because there are a lot of character actors that could be put in this category. We'll talk about like our maybe lists after we get closer in, or maybe even after we're finished. But my number 5, this guy, he's been in. So he was in Hannibal, the TV show. He played a predominant role in that. But I mean, I never watched it, and I know when it comes to TV, especially nowadays, it gets buried in a lot of things. But I really like his appeal, his acting forte, and the first time I really remember seeing him was in the newer interpretation of Casino Royale, and he was in Rogue One that played a bit part, and also Doctor Strange. That's Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah. What's that?
Mikkelsen.
I meant Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do adore his character work.
Yeah.
Some of these also, like, depending on, like, especially the middle, are almost interchangeable. But I had to put them in an order, so I really thought hard about the next one. It was a tie between several different actors. But this guy plays some of the most evil characters. Almost no matter what film he's in. He's got a very specific kind of voice. He was in a Volkswagen commercial. He was in Fargo, Constantine, Armageddon. That's Peter Stormare. Stormare.
Yeah. He was a honorable mention.
Yeah. My number 3 is definitely quintessential that guy. He was in Oh Brother Where Art Thou? He plays Buster Scruggs in the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. That's Tim Blake
Nelson.
He's you can't
He should have been on my short list.
Yeah, you can't look away from this guy. His
He's
acumen.
so good in the Watchmen show.
Right, yeah. He was in the 2019 Watchmen TV show. My next one is a deep cut. I think the deepest of cuts. In fact, if it wasn't for the fact that he got nominated for a Best Supporting Role in this one film I'm going to mention, I don't think he would be on this list. And that's Michael J. Pollard. He played one of the best supporting characters in Bonnie and Clyde with Warren Beatty. He played the guy who sold him out.
Oh, okay.
He was in an episode of Star Trek. He played a lot of characters in episodic television. I can't remember the name of the episode, but we had talked about the episode before where the kids were controlling the planet with the entity. So he's got a very distinctive face, as well as a specific way of talking. It's a very, very cool, unassuming character actor.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, if you look at him, you'll go, "Oh yeah, that guy." Now, my number one, also has a lot of credits to his career. He was more notably, probably out of all of these, would probably be the tie between The Godfather 2 and Alien, but that's Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh yeah.
Also Escape from New York and a bunch of other shit.
I didn't put him on here, but kind of because I kind of figured that you would put him on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I didn't put, like, Clancy Brown was in my in my original list. As well as the other guy, that other guy that was in Shawshank, who called Count of Monte Cristo Dumas. Dumas,
yeah.
Who also played Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
There's a bunch of that guys.
In Shawshank.
In Shawshank.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
I can't wait for this.
Oh,
Because Ethan, you are up.
Okay, it is me. Okay, so
Why do you sound like you're like, oh, I did
My number 5 is Tom Hanks. He was really good in that one movie about the dude from the South.
Number 4, Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington. He was really good in Glory. That's the only thing I can think of that he's a supporting actor in.
So
I like that Gloria is the one that you would think that that Ethan would think of.
He's a good big Matthew Broderick fan.
There's another that guy, Matthew Broderick. He didn't do anything.
He's been in enough starring roles that I think he gets disqualified.
Yeah.
So my number 5, he is primarily known for like TV, and most recently he's starting to get into movies, like character actors, some voice acting, some live appearances that you won't necessarily know he's voice acting unless you're like scrolling the credits, and then you'll see him in a movie. It's like, hey, it's him. Primarily known for lead roles in like Castle, Firefly, and The Rookie. Is going to be Nathan Fillion.
Oh, okay.
Okay. In movies, yes. In television, he's not. It's not that he's that guy. He's the guy.
Yeah.
I went with a more movie approach with
okay.
this.
That's fair.
So
that's entirely fair.
And that's primarily why he's number 5, because he's more,
I tried to lean on movies more, but then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, oh, these guys have like really good TV show things
and
too,
also
so.
Since the rise of prestige television, like that has become a bigger to me more of, I know that person from
but
and it's more
but I can see if you're taking it more, he does fit this when it comes to a movie type thing, because he's never really been.
He's to my knowledge,
Serenity is about the only thing he's technically.
And why do you have that? And also why does he get that? Because of the television series.
So
yeah, primarily.
I see where you're coming from.
No, I get it. It's just like I think of Nathan Fillion, I think leading man.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I would like if it was like Buffy, where he plays like in the last season, he plays like Caleb, the leader of the cult that's trying to bring about the end of the world.
Or the sing along blog.
Yeah.
Doctor
Captain Hammer.
Dr. Horrible.
Doctor Horrible
Captain
sing along.
Hammer.
Yeah.
My next one is going to be a primarily female voice actor
Okay.
that never takes on a primarily leading role, but she's more so coupled with someone as with someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be Kristen Shaw. She voices on Gravity Falls.
Oh yeah.
Bob's Burgers. She also had some supporting character roles in Dave Bautista's My Spy and the sequel movie.
Yeah. She was also in The Last Man on Earth, I think. That TV show.
Yeah.
Last Man on Earth. She also did had a part in
That was Will Forte?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
she also has a part in BoJack Horseman and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah.
I think she was on SNL too. Wasn't she one of the SNL
For a little
people?
bit, I
Yeah.
think. I don't think she was on there for very long, but I
right.
think she was on there. But yeah, she's great. I love her.
That is my number 4. My number 3, let's see. Him. So you watch a movie and you watch an Adam Sandler movie, okay?
Mhm.
And
That's what you do.
Yeah.
one of two people
I
is
usually drink my Adam Sandler movies.
one of
High protein.
It goes down easier.
one of two people is always going to be in it. You're
Mhm.
either going to get a Rob Schneider, which he is not on my list,
I'm a stapler.
or you could get Steve Buscemi,
Mm-hmm.
which I enjoy seeing Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
He always takes a character role. And he has a couple of voice acting, mainly in the Monsters Inc. movies. And it's just like anytime I see him on screen, it fills me with joy to see that he's still up and at it.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
really enjoyed him when he played a predominant role in Reservoir Dogs. What was that ghost movie he was in? Ghost Town or whatever.
Oh yeah.
The based off of a graphic novel. Fargo.
If we want to talk about one day top 5 ensemble casts, Reservoir
Ooh.
Dogs is
Reservoir
right there on
Dogs.
the top.
That's
yeah.
that's a good
Yeah.
one.
This might be a bit offensive. Boardwalk Empire is the only thing he could have been a lead in.
Hmm.
It's weird. Like I see, like he is a tremendous actor and he's a great actor, but he will always to me be a supporting actor. And that role specifically, though, I think was perfect for him.
That his role in Boardwalk Empire alone disqualified him for me.
Okay.
I have a hard time, like, even though he truly is a character side actor, after Boardwalk Empire, I have a hard time seeing him as that, even though he will probably never star in anything again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my thought. But yeah, I love Steve Buscemi.
I always bring this fact up. He was a volunteer firefighter. 9/11 happened. He clocked in at his old firehouse to do shifts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My number 2, aside from number 1,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I never knew this guy's name until very recently. He's always just
That fits very well
He's
into
always
the
been the guy that's just the random bald guy with glasses that I see on my TV whenever I'm watching a movie. He appears in The Devil Wears Prada, The Hunger Games, the last 2 Michael Bay Transformers movies, and he was also the dad in Emma Stone's Easy A movie. And that is going to be Stanley Tucci.
Okay, the
I was
Tooch.
about to say, you said Woody Harrelson.
I was trying to think of who was the bald guy with glasses.
But specifically bald. Yeah, it was Stanley Tucci. But like, where else are we connecting here? But yeah, no, everything checked.
You could have also put Mark Strong in this level because sometimes I forget that they're not the same person.
I mistook him for Mark Strong.
A lot of people do.
So I'm thinking like that's not the
Stanley
guy.
Tucci
in
is
the
also
Kingsman.
One was Sinestro, and the other one was in John Carter of Mars, and they were both Mark Strong.
He's also in the new movie Conclave. He's a cardinal.
Mhm.
He's the progressive cardinal.
He was also in
He believes women should have the right to vote.
He He was also in the first Captain America movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is I'm going to group with J.K. Simmons on this one. Everyone knows who he is, but whenever you're watching a movie, everyone is always on the lookout for him because you know he's going to be somewhere.
Daniel Day-Lewis? No, sorry.
It is going to be Stan Lee. He always makes some. When he was alive, he always made some form of appearance in all of the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Even in Into the Spider-Verse.
I get where you're coming from with this. I don't agree with the pick, but it's not a terrible pick. I get where you're coming from. I'm sorry, I'm stepping on your
No.
fanfare.
I figured that my list was going to turn some heads.
Well,
No,
mainly
pretty good.
you're gonna make
everyone's-
things easier because me and Brady don't have any crossover. But moving on.
Yeah, that is my list.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to preface my list with I have lied to the other travelers. And so we're going to get on because
Oh.
as we were approaching, someone unseated someone because I'd thought about them once and I was like, oh wait, yeah, for all the right reasons he has to go up above him. But so my number 5 is my only Academy Award winner on this list, and that is Chris Cooper.
Yep.
Chris Cooper, especially in the late 90s, early 2000s. This man, if he was in a movie, you noticed him immediately. He won the Academy Award for adaptation, which was the movie where Nicolas Cage plays two brothers, and you still notice Chris Cooper's in there. That's I think to the power of him. But he's also in A Time to Kill, Seabiscuit, the first two Bourne movies. He was in The Patriot as an American general. His probably the biggest as far as him being he was in the movie Lone Star, which was this and I think with the stars of independent films, I think it's a little bit of a cheat to get some of these on here as well. But he was in Lone Star, which was he was the sheriff of the town, which I think was pretty cool. But yeah, Chris Cooper is my number 5. My number 4 is Jennifer Coolidge. As soon as she is on the screen, you know she is there. She had a very prominent role in the last two seasons. Well, the first 2 seasons, therefore also the last 2 seasons of The White Lotus. But everybody, at least from my age, will probably remember most as Mrs. Stifler from either as Mrs. Stifler from American Pie or from her role in Legally Blonde. I was about to say Pretty in Pink. I was like, no, that's not it at all.
No, that's Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, there you go. Jennifer Coolidge is Harry Dean Stanton. Oh my
No,
God!
Harry
That's how
Dean
good of
Stanton
an
was
actor
Pink.
he is.
Oh my God! Or how good of an actress she is. There we go. My number 3 is William Sanderson. So the first thing I looked up is to make sure that he wasn't related to Brandon Sanderson, so that we couldn't talk a little bit more about the Stormlight Archives. But William Sanderson, he was J.F. Sebastian in Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah.
He was E.B. Farnham in Deadwood. If you like long form sitcoms from the 80s, he was the Larry of the brothers Larry, Daryl, and Daryl from Newhart.
He was also apparently in something called Post-Apocalypse.
Post-Apocalypse, yes. He was also a recurring character in Babylon 5, which is where I remembered him from. He's part of the Babylon 5 TV movie Third Space. It was actually pretty cool. It added the Cthulhu mythos there. It was bad fun play there. Very good stuff there. The reason also why I feel not only should he be on my list, but I feel he should make a top 5. His autobiography is, yes, I'm that guy. So just something to consider as we move on. But my number 2 is Lance Henriksen, a prolific history in horror cinema. You will probably remember him best as Bishop from Aliens. He came back to reprise a role as a Wayland in Alien 3 and in Alien vs. Predator. Don't hold that against him. I don't. He's the best parts of those movies, in my opinion. He was one of the leads in a very great ensemble vampire movie called Near Dark. Yep. They pointed at each other.
We talked about it earlier in the store.
Stone Cold, which is one of my favorite roles is his. Not that Stone Cold.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Not that Stone Cold. If it had been 100 times better movie.
He's referring to the Brian Boswick picture.
Stone Cold.
Oh,
He's Stone Cold before Stone Cold.
Yeah.
And so he plays the leader of a militant racist gang of bikers between Mississippi and Alabama,
That
and he
sounds about right.
successfully succeeds in murdering all of the justices of the Mississippi Supreme Court.
Oh wow.
And yeah, it's amazing. Like, watch him in that movie. He's having way too much fucking fun with all the stupid shit that's going on in the movie.
And
It's
of course,
fucking
there's Pumpkinhead.
there's Pumpkinhead. Where
Pumpkinhead.
again, that's another one where he's
in the
lead.
movie, but
Or
only
no,
for like
I would
10
argue
minutes.
he is the lead. I can't say protagonist, but
Right.
the plot drives
Right.
through
Yeah.
him.
Right.
And so yeah, like he's phenomenal in that. Like
Oh
his-
yeah.
he's usually a very erudite, very like if he's saying something, you can believe it because not so much that you trust him. It's just his gravitas and his intelligence that comes out.
Yeah.
He plays a stupid motherfucker in Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
But it driven by like
Emotion
revenge
and
and
revenge,
emotion and
yeah.
just great.
He was also a detective in the first Terminator.
Yep. Yeah, he was.
Yep.
My number one, which initially was Lance Henriksen, and then I was putting this list together, and so I was looking at Lance Henriksen, which means I was looking at horror movies, and I was looking at Pumpkinhead,
Mm-hmm.
and then Pumpkinhead led me over to Candyman.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this man is legit. I've mentioned his name on the podcast before. He is responsible for the best hour of Star Trek television of all time, The Visitor, which is a DS9 episode. Again, he was Candyman. He is the mortuary owner in the Final Destination movies, who really kind of sets the skeleton down of this is how this is supposed to happen. Every time he is on the scene, anytime he is ever in a movie, I notice him. He plays one of the Marines under the colonel in The Rock. He is, in addition to his The Visitor, he played the brother of Worf Kern in Star Trek: The Next Generation and in DS9.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the role of one of my favorite Babylon 5 television movies, where he plays the captain of the doomed spaceship Victory. It is Tony Todd, who he recently passed away, and I never got the opportunity to meet him. It'll always kind of be a stab in the side that he was at Fear Fest all those years ago, and there was a chance I got to go, but work could not spare me, so I had to stay to work. That place is gone now, so I don't mind about telling that story.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, every time he's on in a scene or someplace, like when you see him stand up, there's this gravitas to him that just always for me always drew my eye to him.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a fantastic actor. Wish he had been able to do like more in mainstream. His sections of horror noir, I think, was those were some of my favorites. Like him alongside him and Keith David and his last name's Fiore. I can't remember his name, but he was the guy who was in Return of the Living. Not Return of the Living Dead. Dawn of the Dead. And Ken Fiore. He's also the guy in Devil's Rejects as well too.
Gotcha.
So yeah. That is my top 5 list, and we have no crossover.
Yeah.
None. I was expecting one someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I congratulate you, Jay, because I think the spirit of this idea you got the closest to.
Mm-hmm.
So I will give you that.
Thank you.
I really like the Tony Todd include.
Yeah, Tony Todd, that's a good one.
I feel like that is
This is like,
highly deserved.
again, like this is subsection of actors where they're just going to go in there and they're going to knock whatever little role or even decent sized role out of the park. I love it so much. Character actors are my favorite.
Some of my ideas for this episode. Michael Ironside.
Oh yeah, he was on my short list.
He was on mine.
I hate that this guy didn't, and there's probably no point in writing these down because I have a ton of them and I hope to go over a lot of them before we get out of here. The first guy I thought of when I think of that guy actors, but he didn't make this list because just everybody's just kept bumping him off, and that's James Cromwell. You know, the main bad guy in LA Confidential. He's always
He's the in Babe, right?
yes. Yeah, he's the farmer in Babe.
Yep.
Got Stephen Root, Stephen Tobolowsky, Delroy Lindo, Stellan Skarsgård, Jim Beaver. All of these guys.
Who was the guy that was like one of the main characters, but never? I don't think ever had a leading role that was in both the '84 Terminator and Aliens. You know, the guy who fucks Sarah
yeah,
Connor.
Yeah, the
Michael
fuck.
Biehn.
Michael
Michael
Biehn.
Biehn. Yeah, that was another guy.
Yeah, he was also in The Rock. He was the guy who tried to who got. He was the leader of the team that got Sean Connery and
Gotcha.
and
Gotcha.
Nicolas Cage into the.
He was a good character actor, but he never really got any.
Yeah. The two that I really fought over, it was between Michael K. Williams, and these two was one was Walton Goggins, and the other one was Giancarlo Esposito. Both of those guys, like those three, and they all three have like very well known, phenomenal television roles, and I just kept going back and forth, and I had a very hard time.
Another one of the reasons
on Michael K.
I want to watch Brave New World is because Giancarlo Esposito is playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Goggins too, man.
Yeah,
Goggins is like they're always going to be great.
Have you seen Fallout yet?
The show,
the TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's great. He's great in that.
Fantastic.
To be honest, if I would have thought of that, he might have made it. But
that and the Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
Brady, you have an important choice here. You have the bullet to hand off. Who gets the bullet?
Who is going to be the best to give it to? Who gave it to me?
I think Ethan, you did.
I think I gave it to you.
Let's see. Jay, you get the bullet.
I have the bullet. I would have no desire to use it now, but we will see as the argument continues. All right. So where do we start?
I don't know.
I am a loss.
I will say so the people.
I feel disrespectful to the 15 other names except Stan Lee that are going to be left on this thing.
Well, I will say like Mads Mikkelsen. I didn't think of him because what Mads Mikkelsen does is he plays these character actor. He does these character actor roles when he's in America, and then he uses all that money to go and fund these other movies in like I think he's Danish in his own country and in Europe, to where he's the star of the show. So, and I've seen some of them, so I don't think of him in that as a that, but he is like one of my favorite guys to see in any role.
Yeah.
None of these are really like bad. I guess what we could maybe start with is who we could knock out because of it might be a little too much with the spirit of that guy.
We process of elimination, or if anybody really stands out, we can put them in the maybe pile.
Yeah.
Because I like Clancy Brown. Like that's a big one for me.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
big one for you for staying
for
nomination.
Yeah,
I like the Margot.
I want to pass through right now and say Clancy Brown. But for me, for my list, what like it's on screen, never the star, but always draws your attention because of some sort of like some sort of gravitas or what he is doing or how he or she says things. I think there is Clancy Brown. Like again, the Kurgan. He actually had there was a legal show called in the Deep End. And he played one of the senior partners and was supposed to. It's another one of those ensembles. And he was one of the heads up. And I tell you right now, it was him and the guy who was the Phantom and also the asshole in Titanic. That I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, Billy Zane.
Billy Zane was in that show as well. He draws so much attention just because of that.
You said the Phantom, and I thought the Shadow. So I was thinking like Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, no, it's very. They're almost the same thing, kind of in some ways.
Yeah.
If you watch The Shadow in black and white, it's actually passable.
Oh, I actually like that movie.
Yeah.
I grew up.
I saw
it's a bad movie, but I
saw
like
it in the theater. I paid to go see it.
Oh, wow. I would have actually been cool with that because I was
older. So
I was
really
still a
liked
child
it.
watching The Shadow.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, it's Batman. No, it's not Batman.
Yeah.
But we know how it got greenlit.
You know what didn't hold up though? The Saint. All right.
Oh, that's sad too because that looked good.
It did.
And then, was Elizabeth Shue in that?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. That has nothing to do with this.
No,
so Clancy Brown.
Clancy Brown and the nominees.
I like it.
He's on my list. I'm not.
Clancy Brown and the nominees.
All right, we got Clancy Brown. Clancy Brown's in. Let's if we see a firecracker on fire, let's see if we can get him on there.
Yeah.
He's also played some of the worst people ever.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. He's a good character actor.
All right, so 4 left to go.
For me, I'm looking at Margaret Martindale and Jennifer Coolidge.
Don't forget Kristen Schaal.
And Kristen
Shaw, yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta have one of the ladies on there.
It's on my list, so I'm thoroughly in the Jennifer Coolidge camp. With her, she has this goofiness to her that even when like in a serious role,
Mhm.
and I don't mean this in a bad way. Like it's like, what is she going to do next?
Yeah.
What is she going to say next? How is she going to say it? So again, that's points for Jennifer Coolidge. But Brady with Margot or Ethan with Kristen, what draws you to them?
I mean, for me, it's Margot Martindale because she can go between. She has the range. Jennifer Coolidge, like especially now, you know what you're going to get out of a Jennifer Coolidge performance. Even though it's going to be great, like it's going to be great. I love Jennifer Coolidge, but you know what you're going to get. And the same thing with Kristen Shaw. You're kind of going to get that wacky, goofy thing, and Kristen and Jennifer Coolidge, you're going to get that wacky kind of scatterbrained kind of deal. And again, that's not bad. I'm not saying that that's negative, but for me, it's Margot Martindale because she can be just the lovely grandmother in one role. I mean, she fucking plays Hannah Montana's grandmother in one movie, and then she's like forcing people to commit suicide in another thing when she's or she's getting mauled by a cocaine bear.
Right.
I need those first two movies. I need the Hannah Montana and the
Cocaine
cult movie.
bear?
No, the cult movie put together. In
Oh
one.
yeah.
Just like Disney wouldn't know what to fucking do with that. That's clearly a New Line Cinema picture.
I had to agree with Brady on that. I think Margot Martindale over the other two.
Well, hold on, Ethan. Ethan was going to say something.
I'm sorry.
What we got?
Yes, I put Kristen Shaw on my list, but I would also have to lean towards Martindale.
Is it for the cocaine bear?
Yes, but also like
that to me in my brain, that's the thing you'd probably most prevalently, only because you and I watched it together. So
I was there too.
Yeah.
Yes, but this is just a matter of him and me right now. $4 teas.
$4 tea.
No food.
And I don't mean t-shirts.
They didn't have food, but they had tea.
It's the International House.
Splendid.
It's the International House of fuck you.
I could have told you to avoid that particular IHOP.
I would put my vote towards Martindale.
All right. Margot Martindale is on the list.
All right.
Okay.
That's 2 on Brady's list.
Yeah,
two
I
for two so
wasn't
far.
even trying that.
We'll just do a queen sweep and put all of Brady's on the.
I'll be okay with that. Man, I really looking at Jody's list.
Harry Dean Stanton.
Harry Dean Stanton's great, but for me, it's the two that really stick out. Tim Blake Nelson. I really wish I would have thought of him, because he's fucking great. Like really so fucking good. God. His role in Watchmen is so fucking good, but Peter Stormare is also like really great.
Oh yeah,
one of the best Satans we've ever had.
Oh yeah, isn't he who's the one that screws in Armageddon? Did he fuck somebody over in that movie?
No, he was the Russian cosmonaut.
He's the Russian cosmonaut.
Oh, that's right.
But
That's
she
right.
was the one who went crazy.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot he
Peter
was.
Stormare was the one who was a little bit crazy, so he never went fully crazy.
Right.
But yeah, he's all both of them are so great. For Jay,
I'm gonna say right now, like even though Tony Todd's my number one,
Lance Hendrickson.
No. I literally mean this because this is a literal statement. William Sanderson literally wrote the book on being that guy.
Yeah, William Sanderson.
His autobiography. Yes, I'm that guy. When you
he's a great one.
You want to talk about range? J.F. Sebastian in Blade Runner, Larry from Newhart, and E.B. Farnham from Deadwood.
He was also the creator of the robot people in Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He created Hardak.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Which is a very funny callback since he was in Blade Runner.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think they planned it that way, but that's
they
for
definitely
sure.
did.
I mean, I'm cool with it being on there.
Yeah, out of your list, the one that really stands out is Lance Hendrickson, but I'm not going to be averse to William Sanderson,
right?
Because he's had some great role. E.B. Farnham is so fucking good, like one of the best. Like even in a show that like has all these shining performances, like man, he's a sniveling little worm that you just want to get comeuppance, and he just never fucking does.
Never does because that's Deadwood.
The best thing that happens to him is somebody spits in his face. That's that's the best thing that happens.
That's
to him.
a bad day for him.
Yeah. Oh, he always has a bad day. Like he's always shit on, but he's never shit on quite enough. Like, you're always like you could have gotten more happening there.
Are we going?
I have no opposition.
Ship it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And I'm just kind of going through the people who like kind of stick out to me.
Mhm.
The one on Ethan's list that really sticks out is Stanley Tucci.
He for me, he's across the line. Like I notice him because he is a star. Like that's where the mental block in my head is like
Yeah.
Chris Cooper has an Academy Award.
Yeah.
But then he kind of fades back into it because
Yeah.
I mentioned Lone Star because that's one of his, I think, starring roles, and there was another thing that he was the star in. But past that, like he's always Stanley Tucci. I can't think of him where he has been a star, but to me, it's like you notice him for the name, and then the performance is also good. Like it's the performance before the name kind of thing. Like if we bring up Lance Henriksen. For me, it's the performance first, and then it just happens that it's Lance Henriksen.
Sure. On my list, it really is. It's because to me, like even though like Harry Dean Stanton did a lot, I think he stands out too much. He did quite a lot of things.
To me, he is definitely a that guy actor. But I can see where you're coming from with that as well.
I think Peter kind of Peter and Tim, both,
and Mads
as well.
Yeah, like I said, I have a hard. I think he's where I feel about him the way Jay feels about Stanley Tucci.
Hannibal, right?
Hannibal.
It's Hannibal
puts that.
Hannibal is part of it, and also like he has starred in other movies that I've watched that aren't American movies. But he is always like I do love him as an actor. I love seeing him like pretty much everybody on all 20 of these people like are people that I just love seeing in something.
I love Sommer's Lucifer and Constantine.
Yeah, there's nobody on these lists that I'm really like, oh no, I don't like this person. All these people are great. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's a number one.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
I think there's a thing called a silent bullet where like the three other people are like, absolutely no way.
That's called open judgment.
It just doesn't go into the top five.
It just doesn't.
That's all there
bullets
is
are to be spared for things that are conflicts.
Yeah.
We've never had one that refused to shoot something.
That's the most general statement I think I've ever made on this show. Bullets are to be spared for conflicts.
Ethan, I think, has a pretty good list. The problem with is a lot of
they're
those
all
people
too well known.
Are too well known for me. If we just I can't. I have a hard time doing it. If I just like take TV away, like Nathan Fillion definitely.
Except,
but I have a hard time like taking that away.
If you take TV out of it, he was in Serenity.
Yeah. But then that's one starring role.
Right.
If you take TV out of it, for me, Jennifer Coolidge actually drops off my list because what she did in White Lotus season 1 and 2 is actually exceptional.
Right.
So there's variables in all of our lists.
Sure.
To me,
you take TV away, you also take away Hannibal from Mads.
You took Hannibal from Mads, which actually to me bumps him up a little further because that's his one major American role.
Right.
But it also to me brings Clancy Brown down because now none of the SpongeBob.
You have no SpongeBob.
Right. Sure.
Yeah. It's tough. Really, like most of mine have like a well-known TV thing, but
we've never outright said this before, but I'm on the list. Brady's on twice. Ethan and Jody aren't on the list yet. Do we take each of them because we have 2 spots left? This is more of a matter of convenience, and I will admit it as that being. Give one spot for one on Ethan's list, one spot on Jody's list, and that way we kind of like get the other like 8 that are or 7 that are still out of the way, and it makes it easier to argue for. Or is there someone that we're like? I love Tony Todd. I would, if someone else was piping up right now, I'd be fighting for it. But if no one else wants to, I think, and it's also a credit to the strength of each of these lists that we have this kind of issue.
Let's go back to what we were doing before we started, like just shotgunning our nominees, which we had some outright, standout character actors that we wanted to throw down there. Let's start process of elimination, people we know that's not going to be on there. Not Silver Bullet, not anything.
Right.
I say J.K. Simmons shouldn't go on there because he's too well known.
I'm okay with that.
That's the first one. So like an X by that one. Stan Lee's not an actor.
I appreciate where you're coming from, Ethan, but yeah. It was nice to see him in all the Marvel movies, but it wasn't like a.
We can put an X on Mads as well.
You can also argue that he's too well known. Like everybody who saw him when the Marvel movies, maybe in the earlier movies, like in Hulk, when you saw him, you were like, "Oh shit."
Well,
but
also,
even then, like most people who saw him were like, "Oh, that's Stan Lee."
Yeah, and that's because sometimes he's just on screen and he's like, "Huh,"
but
and then
you never
it's
go
done, and it's like, "Oh, okay."
But you
like
never
2
go.
seconds.
But you never with him. For me, I've never went. Oh, I know that guy. It's shit, Stan Lee.
Yeah.
They fit him in here somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, Mads. I don't think there's anybody too famous on Jay's.
I think out of mine, it would either be Henriksen or Cooper, and Cooper only because he has the statue.
But even then, like most people don't remember
his
that Chris
name, right,
Cooper is like Chris Cooper's great.
Yes.
He was great as the bad guy in the Muppets movie, the more recent one. Maniacal laugh.
No.
Maniacal laugh. I just did that because I wanted to do that joke.
It's good. It's a solid joke.
It's a super solid joke.
I like it.
But like I don't think having a like a supporting actor statue disqualifies you from this
Well, I
list.
mean, because J.K. Simmons as a supporting actor.
But
Should have been the lead, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Michael J. Pollard also got a nominee for supporting actor for
I don't,
Bonnie and Clyde.
It's just necessarily that they're just not as it's sometimes they're just not like the main guy most of the time.
We can also just mark off Harry Dean Stanton as well, right? I mean, we're not.
I'd vote for him right now.
Yeah,
I 100% I would vote for him right when he showed up in Avengers.
Yeah,
out of a clear blue fucking sky. It's
Right.
like, oh fuck, that's Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, he was in there.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just that happened there.
Yeah. He is that guy. That's for sure.
Like honestly, that's my vote right now. Harry Dean Stanton. Like if anybody else, like again, if you have better reasons for somebody else or against Harry Dean Stanton, please voice him now because let's keep this moving.
Like I said, the two on Jody's list that really stick out to me are Tim Blake Nelson, Peter Stormare. But I'm not gonna be mad at Harry Dean Stanton. Do you have any?
Hold on. If we do Harry Dean Stanton and Peter Stormare, Ethan has nothing on your list. That appeals to you, Brady. I know you're smiling.
No, I tried to argue for Stanley Tucci and got shot down. I got shot in the tooch. So
in the toot?
in the tooch.
You got shot in the Tucci.
In the Tucci.
Not the Tucci.
Not the Tooch.
But he's like I like Kristen Shaw, but I don't like her enough. Steve Buscemi, like
he's way too famous.
Personally, I just have a problem with him being way like more famous than
he should be.
Than
for this
a lot of people. And again, I have trouble seeing him as just a regular ass character actor, even though he's only ever starred in one thing, and he probably will never star in another thing again.
That's also
like whenever
true.
I see him on a list, I'm like, no, that can't be right.
Right.
Like, so that's a personal thing for me.
Right.
Even though I love him.
Oh yeah.
And Nathan Fillion, I have a hard time taking away the TV stuff where.
So can we put an X by Nathan Fillion at least?
We'll put an asterisk. We'll put an asterisk.
I would asterisk.
Yeah. And
X means we hate. We don't hate. We just think you've gone to a better.
All right.
Better
Hashtag Stu Buscemi's too famous.
Are we doing Buscemi as well?
Yeah.
Because if we do, except to me, if we do Buscemi, we have to do Tucci as well.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
We're gonna fuck up. We're gonna fuck around, and Ethan's just not gonna have anybody on the list. I think.
Well, because I don't think Kristen Shaw stacks.
Yeah, she doesn't.
And if I were to choose between Stanley Tucci and Steve Buscemi, I'm going Buscemi.
Well, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah. I mean, I do love him more.
Don't forget wasn't he one of the waiters at the diner
Pulp
in
Fiction.
Pulp Fiction? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He played Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
Or-
He was Buddy Holly.
Yeah.
In the
Right.
Jack Rabbit Slims.
That's
Yeah.
not Marilyn Monroe. That's,
$5 milkshake. People, if you only knew how much milkshakes cost today,
Yeah.
that became dated.
Well,
Very
that's
quickly.
how you teach your children about. You make them watch Pulp Fiction first of all, and then you get to that scene, and then you can explain inflation to them.
yeah.
You can explain it and how geometry works
But
because
that's-
that is not a square.
That's the best.
The Pulp Fiction DVD I had came with a menu for
See-
Jack Rabbit Slims.
Hell
so I could
yeah.
just
Oh yeah,
hand them
I have that. I have
yeah,
that.
that's great. I love
In fact, when I got like the Quentin Tarantino set, I just took all the shit from my Pulp Fiction and my my Jackie Brown special things and smashed them into.
They
there.
were Quentin was smart early in the game because there was a different colored sleeve with a different guy for Reservoir Dogs when they released the DVD.
I remember that.
I had the
You could
Mr.
get-
Pink one.
You could get
Mr. Pink,
all-
Mr. Blonde.
I think Mr. Orange had one.
Yeah,
and Mr. White.
there was 5 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hear me
I feel
out.
sad for
All right,
anybody who got
wait.
Mr. Blue.
that. Ethan, go for it.
what happened to
We-
Mr. Blue? Oh, he got shot.
We
Yeah.
we
Don't worry about
asterisk Christian Shaw, and
Did we?
No.
We're in the process of eliminating Ethan's entire list.
And
Please save it.
we get Harry Stanton on there on the nominees,
Okay.
and then I also think it would be the last nominee would be between Peter Stormare or Tim Nelson. That
Okay. If we go down this yellow brick road that he's provided us,
this is that is what I'm thinking.
we put Harry Dean on,
Harry
and
Dean
then
on.
my vote for the split in the road between Stormare and Nelson goes to Stormare. I like the Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I gotta let you know, Tim Blake is sometimes off-putting to me, just slightly.
yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes that's the point.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair.
You didn't like that episode of Seinfeld, did you?
I
really-
can actually tell you with honest eyes, I've seen like 4 episodes of Seinfeld, one of them being the last one. And I thought, what's the problem with this? This is funny as fuck.
It was just them at the coffee shop, except they're in prison.
I like how
Yeah.
they repeated that spiritually in the last episode of Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
this is funny as fuck.
Stop calling me Braun the Broken. That's not cool. All right.
So the boy is offered
either
Harry
way-
Dean Stanton,
So-
which there's a positive vibe for, and then we fight over Stormare and Nelson.
Let's do one
So
at a
either-
time here. I'm okay with Harry Dean Stanton going on there. I know. What about you, Brady?
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna say no to that. That's
all right. Well,
not
let's do
terrible.
that first, and then put the check mark up there by his name as soon as you get done doing that, and then we'll figure out the rest of this shit show after that. Okay.
And then we asterisk Kristen Shaw.
It's not that she's not famous. She's not good enough. Deal with it.
Nah, she's good.
She's good. But
Um,
again, compared, that's the problem. It's like, oh, you made first in the spelling bee. I
Well, I don't enjoy that we're tacitly like just knocking off that we just tacitly knocked off all of Ethan's list. I don't feel good about
We
that.
agreed to this.
You didn't say shit until just now.
If
Like,
I had any opposition, I would have objected.
okay, but like I don't. Okay, if you're fine with it, I'm fine with it. I'm gonna stop arguing for you if you're arguing against you. So
It's great. This is the
Like-
first time
like,
Brady's
I-
defended Ethan and he's shitting on him for
Like,
it.
would I have loved to see Tucci and Buscemi on the list? Absolutely, but I also understand that yes, they are too well known for what we are trying to discuss.
okay,
I understand.
okay.
I understand that.
I think it's a 3-way dance between Hendrickson and Solminaire and
he's on your Stormare.
Stormare.
That's not like Solomare. Like,
Solminaire.
is he French now? What the hell?
Yeah. Stormare,
So
I mean, he might be.
Henriksen,
Stormare,
Stormare,
and Nelson.
and Tim Blake Nelson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where my thoughts are going to.
If I would, I would put my vote on Nelson for the three-way that way.
Because of Henriksen's fame, I'm going with Stormare.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Jay, you overestimate Lance Hendrickson's fame. He is well known in certain circles,
Very niche circles.
but I do not think that he is as well known as you think he is.
I think
That's why I think he when you said him and were like very apprehensive about him, I was like, no, I think he's perfect.
Yeah,
for,
now that I think about it,
this
I put him
list.
almost in the same category as Michael Ironside.
Yeah,
Like he's well known, but only very vaguely.
yeah.
You know,
But
that's a tough one.
out of the three, I like Nelson the best, but I'm also okay with Stormare.
Mm-hmm.
But Hendrickson is also really good. That's
Right.
a tough three-way discussion.
Can we put Harry Dean Stanton on there twice?
No.
Okay,
just checking.
So out of the three, I don't think Stormare has ever been a lead in anything ever.
I don't think so.
Tim Blake Nelson was the lead in
Buster
Buster
Scruggs.
Scruggs,
But that was an anthology.
but he was still the lead. Like he's
He's the lead. And
His
title
character is in the title. That
Yeah,
is
his
that
character's
is
in the
that is
title.
true.
he's as close to a lead as you can get in that kind of.
Well, Tony Todd, the only thing I remember him from is like he was the lead in that movie.
Candyman.
Candyman.
Yeah,
Candyman and the mortuary.
Yeah.
person.
Well,
I never saw that.
And he's not the lead in
No,
Final
no.
Destination. He just shows up for every one of them.
right.
Oh, this newest one's not going to have him in it. Damn it.
Yeah.
he's the antagonist, but I don't consider him like the lead in that.
If you're not even if you're not a fan of Star Trek, I recommend The Visitor
Mhm.
as a it's an hour watch.
Mhm.
If you understand the dynamics of father and son relationships, it's
Mhm.
God, I love that episode so fucking much.
And even with Hendrix though, like calling it lead is kind of the
Loose.
Yeah.
It's loose.
Yeah.
Like even like I would say he's the lead in Near Dark, but even then it's the power.
There's
of
no
that
lead in Near Dark.
But if I had to pick one to put on a poster,
Mhm.
his name goes up there first. That being said, that is still an ensemble movie.
Right. It is.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards Stormare because one, he's never even been close to, like, you couldn't even argue like with these other one, like with a lot of these other ones, it's kind of
Right.
close, and we've even like made arguments for all of them.
Yeah.
But Stormare has never even like been he has always been like he's always a character, capital C character.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's Satan. He's a crazy ass cosmonaut.
He's putting Steve Buscemi in a wood chipper.
Yeah, he's putting Steve Buscemi in a wood chipper.
Kind of just so when I was looking up William Sanderson stuff, one of the things that was said about him was that he's a mechanic, and that it's not that he is the part; he makes sure the part works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and once again, like again, I'm voting Peter Stormare. I think that's an excellent point. The fact that he has never been the lead.
Yeah.
He's always that guy.
Yeah, for sure. Like I agree 100% with
Any objections?
what Brady said just now.
Do we have that carry him over? into
I
the
agree
list?
with what Brady just said, like 100%. Like
If I object to this, then it's just gonna go back and forth between.
Well, and like
with all of
so,
this, and
I'm trying to and I'm trying to come up with reasons to put somebody on there, even though like picking of who I like best between Nelson and Stormare, I like Nelson better, but.
mhm.
Thinking of like how they fit into this list, especially
Yeah.
with all the other
Yeah.
people that we have on
Like,
here.
if this was a good if we were trying to figure out top 5 favorites,
Mhm.
then
This is a different.
it's a different
It's
list.
a
But
different
for
situation.
for the sake of what we're discussing,
Yeah.
then I would agree with what Jay and Jody are advising. Because yes, Tim Blake Nelson, he had the lead role in Buster Scruggs. That puts him a step ahead of everyone else who has not had a single leading role.
Mhm.
Anthology, TV show, or
Right.
movie.
Sure.
Okay,
Stormare.
Stormare.
Yeah.
Stormare.
All right.
All right.
All right. So that's the first fight. Now,
I think this will be a little bit
think it'll be
easier
easier?
than we think.
Typically,
find
if
out.
it takes us a long time to get here, this is the quicker part.
Put Mr. Krabs at number 1.
Clancy Brown.
I'm going to say it again just for comedic effect. William Sanderson wrote the book. Yes, I'm that guy. If he's not 1, then he's 2.
I'm okay with them being 2. I think Clancy Brown should be the first. That's my vote.
That's my vote too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I resubmit for the council's consideration.
Sanderson is fine at number 2 for me.
Sanderson's fine. Number 2. Yeah. That's not where I would personally have him, but in consensus, I am okay with that.
Right. I think Margot should be number 3.
I can't put her over Harry Dean Stanton.
That's true.
That's what I
That's
was also
true.
I
thinking.
can't do. I can. No.
And then
You know, I agree with
Stormare.
it. I can put her over Stormare. I can't put her over Harry Dean Stanton.
So do we put
So my 3, 4, 5 would be Stanton, Martindale, Stormare.
I don't really object to that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Anybody.
I like that.
That's fine.
That makes sense.
Wow, that wasn't really a fight.
Yeah, that's if it's long to get there, it's quick when we get to the finish. If it's the other way around, with the exception of the chalkboard when we had 7 people doing it,
Yeah.
it's the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, passengers, it is done. This is the top 5 unalterable, unfallible, irreversible. The top 5
That person.
actors of all time. Number 5, Peter Stormare. Number 4, Margot Martindale. Number 3, Harry Dean Stanton. Number 2, William Sanderson. Number 1, Clancy Brown.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
we did it.
Hopefully our discussion has made you like think of like these people who put in a lot of work to oftentimes a very small role, but they really make it their own.
And who elevate roles that would normally just be like, to something that's
Yeah.
like, oh, this is why I come back to watch this.
You want to know one of my highest takes when it comes to like character actors? Brad Pitt's a character actor with a leading guy face.
That's fair. That checks.
100% now, but back then I think like Legends of the Fall, like he elevates Legends of the Fall. I think that to me was his.
This is not
breakout
saying
role.
that he's a bad actor, but he's really a.
No, I think that's saying
not-
he's a good actor. It's that he gets into that character
Yeah.
and it makes you want to look at that character.
He's always
and
better.
experience it, yeah.
His roles are always better when he has a character to get into, and he is not
Like Once Upon
and
a
he's not-
Time.
and he's not having to carry the role.
Once Upon a
He's not-
Time was great.
Yeah, and he's not having to, and he's not having to like carry the movie
Right.
himself. So maybe this will let you like get you to thinking about those those people who don't always get the top billing, but they're always like really putting in the work, because these are the people who really like
elevate the movie.
elevate the movies.
You have to have actors and characters play off each other.
These are the guys that can make a shit movie like bearable, because you're like, oh shit, okay, they're really doing a thing. That's cool. I love this.
It's like your favorite mid-card wrestler that gets you through the shitty NWO angles
Yeah.
back in the 90s.
Yeah, it's like, when you watch the movie and you go, hey, everybody's talking about like, hey, where's Poochie? When is Poochie gonna show up? And these are Poochie.
All of these are the Eddie Guerrero of acting.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the early Guy Ritchie films. Everybody's a character actor.
Oh yeah, everybody's a character actor.
Mhm.
Oh shit, what's the big dude's name? Fuck.
Bullet Tooth Tony?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't remember his name.
Damn.
He was in both Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and
Yeah, he's always
Yeah.
the heavy in
Mhm.
anything. But yeah, there's a couple, Paul Giamatti we didn't mention.
Yeah.
oh, that's one that I was thinking.
Stephen
of.
McKinley Henderson. He was the he's the Mentat in Dune, in the first Dune.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's Thufir. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
David.
talking about-
Oh yeah. And David Desmalkin is the one for the Harkonnen.
Yeah.
Mhm.
David Dasmalkian
Yeah.
is great.
Why didn't we put David Desmalkin on this?
We didn't think about it.
yeah.
Benedict Wong.
Benedict Wong. Yep.
He's a great
we
one.
talking about Vinnie Jones.
Vinnie
Jones,
Vinnie
yeah.
Jones. Jaimin Hansu.
Yep.
Chitwale Ejiofor.
Yep.
I'm 100% certain that I completely butchered your name when I wrote it down. I am sorry. You are an actor that I love. So Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif.
Brad
Brad
Dourif.
Dourif.
Yep.
Alfred Molina.
Mm-hmm.
Judy Greer.
You know
love
why I
seeing Judy
didn't think
Greer.
of Brad Dourif? Chucky is too famous for me. Like that's why it didn't kind of cross the
Yeah.
line. It's like because that was a comparison.
Well,
I love every
Chucky is famous, but I don't think most people could point out
No.
who plays Chucky.
I get you because the other person who has played Chucky is Mark Hamill.
yeah.
So yeah, but for me, like again, going back to like Tony Todd, like is because I didn't. Tony Todd would have missed my list, and then like maybe about like a week or two later, I've been like, oh fuck.
Well, the thing about Brad Dourif is the only thing I remember him being in, like as far as him being on screen, is as Grimmer Wormtongue and as the character in Spontaneous Combustion.
He's
also the Legion. He's the Legion demon in Exorcist 3.
Oh,
Which if you want
That's
prime Dourif,
Yeah.
holy shit.
yeah.
And he's also the doctor in Deadwood.
The human,
Oh, is he?
the
Nice.
human head can last 20 seconds outside of the body. I like to take my victims' heads and show them the body right before they pass away. It's like, yeah, that
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
A couple of newer people. We got Brian Tyree Henry.
yeah.
He's always great. And Jason Mantzoukas, if you
Mhm.
want a crazy person in your show or whatever, he's always there.
I didn't think of David Desmalkin because Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, that's kind of a hopeful. I hope that he gets more starring roles.
Yeah.
But he's always a weird little freak in whatever movie he's in.
Mhm.
Watch him in Prisoners. Prisoners is a great movie.
Mhm.
He's a weird little freak in that one. But yeah.
If he wasn't in 2.5 Men, John Cryer could be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a.
Another one. Peter Kine.
Mhm.
John Cryer was in. He was Ducky in Pretty in Pink.
Mhm.
Okay,
He was
yeah.
also in a Ferris Bueller kind of movie
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't good. I can't remember the name of it right now, but
Luis Guzman. He's
Luis
always great.
Guzman, yeah.
He's always
that's
great
another
whenever
one.
he does.
I'm gonna write him on honorable mentions, even though we're the only
Louis
four people
Gossett Jr.
Louis Gossett won an Academy Award for one of the most potent roles in all of like he was so good in Officer and a Gentleman. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I forgot about that movie.
Speaking of people who won, you got Ned Beatty.
Ned
Ned
Beatty.
Beatty.
Yeah.
Ned Beatty. This man had a 5-minute role
Yeah.
in Network.
Yeah, and it was enough.
And won an Academy
was
Award
enough.
off of that. That's doing something. That's doing something.
Well, Dame Judi Dench won for fucking playing the Queen in Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, that was also a weird year.
One that I thought, wow.
If by weird you mean hugely Hollywood political, thank you Harvey Weinstein year, yeah.
Yeah.
one I wish
Although Shakespeare in Love, I like it's just
I like Shakespeare in Love. It is not better than Saving Private Ryan. It is not. And they prove that because the director, Steven Spielberg, won for Best Director, but Shakespeare in Love beat it for Best Movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm just
Yeah. No, I'm also mad about that. I hate that. I'm sorry. We completely cut you off, Ethan.
Yeah.
Ethan.
Timothy Spall was someone I wish I thought of when I was making this list. He played a Wormtail in the Harry Potter movies, and then he just started showing up as character actors in a whole other slew of movies.
Like what? I'm trying to think of something else I've seen him in.
Oh yeah. He's great.
Mhm.
He's great.
He was in the Last Samurai. He was in
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
Okay. Yeah. No. I co-sign. I go from
What
skeptical
did
to
he
co-sign.
play in Sweeney Todd?
Oh yeah, he was in
He-
Spencer.
He was
Yeah.
the God, what's the French barber? His assistant.
Yeah, that guy's great.
No, not
Oh,
his assistant.
you're not talking about
He's-
Sacha Baron Cohen. You're talking about the assistant to.
No, he's the assistant to Alan Rickman's character. That's who
He
he is.
played
Oh,
Hey, we have to discount him because he was the lead in Fungus the Boogeyman.
Well, to all the fans of Fungus the Boogeyman out there, it's because you're so good as we had to disqualify him.
what's that wonderful aroma?
MacNarb Gaming in Goshen, Mississippi.
That's that wonderful aroma.
Yes, very pungent.
I use a bit of ambergris.
Yes.
on Friday Night Magic. I'm sure.
Mhm.
We don't have to out them like that.
I think you're confusing us with Yu-Gi-Oh, which is not played anymore
This is
here.
true. This is true.
There's literally
I've come in here on some Wednesdays and it's been kind of pungent.
there's literally a posting on
That's
a
D&D
famous
night.
posting on Reddit called Pokemon. Oh no, was it Pokemon or Magic Crack Style? Where they're just dude is just going
I think
around.
that was a magic tournament.
That was
he
magic. Yeah,
doing.
he's just going around and just taking pictures of all the exposed butt cracks. From
Yeah, he
players.
got banned from tournaments for doing that.
Yeah.
Because he made people feel bad about their butt cracks.
Mhm.
You know what that would have made them feel better? Pull them pants up.
Yeah. If he
Yeah.
was making fun of like their weight or something, I would agree.
Yeah.
Like, hey, that's ban that guy.
Yeah, talking about your butt crack. How about this?
Ever heard
Don't
of
be a pussy.
Ever heard of
Yeah.
a belt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just pull your pants up.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all you have to do.
Stop wearing jogging shorts in public.
But they're comfortable. Um,
That's why I'm wearing jogging pants.
yeah.
And I'm wearing shorts.
McNarb, I think that's it.
Yeah.
That-
Stop by if you like Morkborg and Morkborg related materials
They've
like
got Shadow Dark
Cyborg
in as well.
and Shadow Dark. Yes.
Yeah, Mork Borg and Mork Board accessories.
Occasionally, you'll find the four of us playing Crocodile.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a board now, and the owner of the actual owner of the shop, Breaking Kayfabe, Gregory Spanier, also has a guy.
Roger also has a crocodile
Wow,
board.
we just got all the Crokinole boards.
I would like mysteriously for Bianca to own a Crocodile board, and she hasn't told it. She can't hear us because she has her cat ears on.
No, she
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, she heard us now." No,
I can't.
We
I
were
can't
hoping
wait
you
for
had
you
a
to get your
secret
Valentine's
fourth
Day present. By
Crokinole board,
the way.
I'm
and we would have
excited
4
about
Crokinole
this.
boards.
I'm
but we only
excited
have-
secretly
I'm
cozy
afraid-
gaming.
I'm afraid that we're over talking it, but I don't think we are. Ethan's Valentine's Day present.
Oh man, I can't wait
is
for you
going
to
to-
receive this present.
It's going to be amazing. Next week, I believe we
I'm
have our
excited
Yep.
the next.
Yes, next week, book
It is
4
next week.
in the longest running continued series on the bus, The Hand of Oberon,
Yep.
from the Chronicles of Amber by Roger Zelazny. So we're going to be going back to the literary world next week. So
It's time for our annual book club meeting.
It's the Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 of the Amberverse.
Yeah. It's gotten better.
yeah,
Yeah.
once you, like the first 2 chapters,
Right.
yes.
It's
So
3,000 years ago.
thousands of years ago, the great red ape, something else, Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yep.
Bus is rolling into the station, gentlemen. One more time around the room. I'm James McCarthy.
I'm Bray Davis.
I'm Jody Kite.
I'm Ethan Skinner.
We are travelers on the omnibus. Thanks for stopping by, enjoying the ride. Good night.
We'll keep the light on for you.
No, that'll run down the battery on the bus.
My eyes are starting to burn.
Yeah.
Oh, what? What happened?
It's
What?
too late. Like,
Oh, I thought someone had done a poopty.
no.
That was
Okay.
1 o'clock in the morning.
Okay,
what
that's
it
fair.
is.
That's fair.
I feel a sneeze coming on.
Oh.
We're gonna keep
hate
recording
it.
until it's done. You
Please don't.
sneeze right into that microphone.
Achoo.
Sneeze. Okay, there you go.
Sneeze, I chew.